Thank you. So how long is a day in Brahmaloka? It lasts 1,000 yugas. How long is a night in Brahmaloka? It lasts 1,000 yugas. Just to give you a sense, of how long has this world lasted? How long has this universe lasted? Even if it is 15 billion years, according to Big Bang theory, if you apply the theory of reincarnation to the Big Bang theory, how many lives have you lived? How many lives have you lived? How many times have you landed up here in this world? How many times have you gone through the same routine? These are questions worth considering. There's no answer to these questions. I'm not saying this is how long the world has been, and this is how many lives you have lived. These are just questions for contemplation. They're just questions for wonderment. It should create in you a sense of wonder. Adi Shankaracharya says, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathareshan, Bhajo Govindam. In the Bhajo Govindam, he says, again birth, again death. आप वापस जन्म लेते हो, वापस मरते हो, वापस जन्म लेते हो, वापस मरते हो. कितनी बार कर रहे हो आप ये? यह संसारे बहु दुस्तारे. This samsar, clearly it is not giving you what you want. It is instead keeping you entangled. This entanglement is forcing you to take birth again and again and again. This entanglement is forcing you to take birth again and again and again. Right now, you and I are entangled. We have hundreds of thoughts and desires and aspirations and attachments. We'll live with these attachments. We'll die with these attachments. They'll carry on with us all through life. Vayasi gate kama vikara shushke neere kahas kasara. He says in verse number 10, or is it 11? He says, old age comes, but desires don't go. Youth goes, but desires don't go. That's what he says. Youth goes, but desires don't go. You've lived through all your youth. You've lived through your period of capacity. Youth is your stage of life where you can try to fulfill your desires. Youth is that stage of life where you can pursue them. You have the physical capacity, you have the mental capacity, possibly you have the financial capacity to try and fulfill these desires, whatever desires you have. Youth finishes, but these desires don't finish. They stick with you. This is the terrestrial entanglement. These thoughts, desires, attachments. We live with them and we die with them. And because we die with them, we are reborn with them. We're reborn. These vasanas, these desires are what cause our rebirth. Nothing else. So in that sense, Adi Shankaracharya is saying, Iha samsari bahu dustare. This entanglement, हमें जकड़ा हुआ है इसने. और कितने जन्म हम लेते आ रहे हैं. कितने जन्म हम लेते आ रहे हैं. But चाहिए क्या? What do we want? Has anybody asked that? क्या चाहिए? एंड में मुझे क्या चाहिए? इस स्टोरी का डी एंड कब है? जब कोई मूवी बड़ी लंबी चलती है, यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. पहले 2 घंटे तो बहुत अच्छी लगती है, 2-2.5 घंटे. अरे अभी वापस एक और प्लॉट ले आया, यहाँ पे खत्म कर देना चाहिए था इसे. हाँ, इन्हें यहाँ पे खत्म कर देना चाहिए था. They should have ended the movie. They could have ended the movie 45 minutes ago. Many of us will say, when we come out of a very long Bollywood movie, 3 hours plus, you should have ended this movie. So what is the end to your movie? What is the end to your movie? When will it come? Iha samsare bahu dustare, kripya pare pahi murare. Please help me get across, oh Murari. Oh Murari, please help me get across this terrestrial entanglement. The purpose of the spiritual path is to help you get over this entanglement, nothing else. Through knowledge, through devotion, through action. Through knowledge, through devotion, through action. These are the techniques. With your intellect, engage yourself in spiritual knowledge. With your mind, develop the spirit of devotion, develop an awareness of the divinity, develop a spirit of surrender, develop an attitude of gratitude. And with your body, with your actions, execute karma yoga, selfless action. This is the technique. If you want to get across, if you want to disentangle yourself, this is the technique. So we've been given the technique. The scriptures give us this technique. That's what these classes are meant to do. That's what our discussions are meant to do. Teach us these techniques, how to evolve spiritually. Karma, bhakti, jnana. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. That's what will help us cross over this terrestrial entanglement. So think about it. Think about it. Brahma Loka, one day is 432 billion years. 432 billion years. How many? If Brahmaji has created the universe, suppose he created it yesterday, according to him. Suppose he created this universe yesterday, according to him. How long has the universe lasted? I'm just humoring you, assuming, if you think, okay, there's some Brahmaji who's created this universe physically. Suppose it's created it physically. How long has it lasted? 432 billion years. Long time. Long time. So think about it. This is something worth thinking about. This is something worth contemplating about. This thought, where will it all end? What is the point of all of this? What am I really chasing? What am I really looking for in life? What am I really looking for in life? See, this is not said in a spirit of resignation. हाँ, ये ऐसा चीज नहीं है जब आप ओल्ड एज में अपने आप से कहोगे दुखी होकर के. Many people will come to the spiritual path because there's no other option. Nothing else is happening. No, this is not said in a spirit of resignation. कि और कुछ नहीं है करने को तो आज चलिए भगवत गीता पढ़ते हैं, चलिए spiritual path में आते हैं. No. Ideally, this question should arise as early as possible. And this is not because nothing else is working out in the world. This is not to be taken up because nothing else is working out in the world. May you have all the wealth, may you have all the abilities, may you have all the amenities, may you have all the joy. May you be King Janaka. May you be a Raja Rishi. May there be no shortcoming in your worldly amenities. The idea that, the awareness that nothing in the world is going to bring me that. Nothing in the world is going to bring me that. That's why we had a country of Raja Rishis. This was the tradition. The most powerful, successful, wealthy people were Rishis. In fact, if you were a Rishi, you were capable of being most wealthy, powerful. That was the idea. And they chose their leaders accordingly. Nowadays, how do we choose leaders? Nowadays, we choose leaders based on what they will give us for free. We will choose leaders based on what they will give us for free. We will choose leaders based on some unnecessary idea. But back in the day, who were the people regarded as leaders? Those who were Raja Rishis, those who were spiritually evolved, those who could guide and take the right decisions, those who had deep knowledge. And that knowledge would help them conduct their duties of their position. So this is not something you take up because nothing else is working out in the world. That's not the idea. In fact, you have to be in the thick and thin of the world. For 99.99% of people taking up this spiritual path, you have to be in the thick and thin of the world. You have to continue doing whatever you're doing. You have to continue doing your business. You have to continue doing your job. You have to continue doing your, being with your family. You have to continue catering to it. You have to continue earning wealth. All these things you have to continue doing. They are our obligatory duties. They are your obligatory duties. So the spiritual path is not something that takes you away from the world in a spirit of resignation. No. That question, what is all of this for, has to arise when you are in the thick and thin of it, when you are in the din and roar of the marketplace. when you're aspiring for all sorts of material things? That question has to arise then. So, a day in Brahma, that is what we discussed yesterday. And why am I saying all of this? We are building up to a thought, we are building up to an idea. In verse number 16, he said, Samadhi is a state of no return. All the worlds up to Brahma Loka are subject to return, but on reaching me, on attaining Samadhi, on attaining self-realization, there is no rebirth, there's no return. That's the final. Bas, that's the end of your journey. That's the end we're talking about. Now, the people who know day and night, a day and night of Brahma, they know day and night. A day and night of Brahma lasts 1,000 yugas. 1,000 yugas. So such people, the wise people, are cognizant of how long this world has really existed, of how long, how many repetitions, how many cycles of life we have been through. Our lives are very small, maximum 100 years. What is it in context of a day and night of Brahmaji? So how many lives must we have lived? Such people, they know day and night. And what happens? What happens in this? Verse number 18, this entire world is going through a cycle. This entire world is going through a cycle. The same cycle we see in our daily lives is the cycle we see in our entire life, is the cycle we see in the life of Lord Brahma. The cycle of manifest and unmanifest. That's all there is to this world. The cycle of manifest and unmanifest. We will take it up. Verse number 18 from chapter 8. Avyaktadhyaktaya sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratriagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta sangyake avyktadhyaktaya sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratriagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta संज्ञके. दिन के आने पर सारी प्रवृत्तियां अव्यक्त से प्रकट होती हैं और रात्रि के आने पर उसी अव्यक्त नाम वाले में प्रलय हो जाती है. उसी अव्यक्त नाम वाले में प्रलय हो जाती है. At the approach of day, all the manifest stream forth from the unmanifest. सारी जो चीजें जो प्रकट होती हैं वो अप्रकट से प्रकट होती हैं. At the approach of day, and at the approach of night, they dissolve back again there only in what was called the unmanifest. The seed is unmanifest. Beej jo hai unmanifest hai. It's under the ground, you can't see it. And what happens? Monsoon season, suddenly you'll see all the seeds are sprouting. It becomes manifest. Manifest matlab dikhne lagta hai. It appears. It becomes manifest, vyakta. And it'll grow, it'll have flowers, it'll bear fruit. And what will happen after the fruit? Again, it'll create a seed, and the seed will again go unmanifest. That's the cycle of life. Manifest to unmanifest. To manifest, to unmanifest. You wake up in the morning right now. What's happened? You woke up maybe 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, or maybe half an hour ago. What has happened? You have become manifest. And you live through your entire day. You'll do all sorts of things. You'll eat, you'll sleep, you'll breathe, you'll play, you'll discuss, you'll meet people, you'll go out, you'll go shopping. Whatever you'll do, you'll go to work. And then in the evening, you'll come back, you'll eat, you'll freshen up, and you'll go back to sleep. You'll become unmanifest. This world right now has become manifest. And when you go to sleep again, it'll go back. It's like a movie. It's like a movie screen. First, there will be a screening on the screen that's become manifest. And at the end of the day, the theater will close. So the screen will become dark again. That's sleep. Every day you're going through a cycle of manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. What is the difference between sleep and death? What is the difference between sleep and death? The only thing is, when you sleep, you wake up again as the same person. When you sleep, you wake up again as the same person. We should ask ourselves, what is the chance? What is the chance when we sleep? Maybe we wake up as something else. What's the guarantee we will wake up as the same person? What is the guarantee? See, we don't think about this. There's a lot of mystery in waking, dream, and deep sleep. There's a lot of mystery in it. We have to think about it. Central to the subject of Vedanta. What is this dream? What is this sleep? Where are we going? What's happening? In the dream, the moment we enter the dream, we are in a totally different world. We're in a totally different world, experiencing a totally different thing. And when we are in that dream, it feels so real. It feels we are really there, going through all of that. What is that? How is it happening? And the moment we wake up, we realize, oh, it was just a dream. So this entire cycle of waking, dream, deep sleep, waking, dream, deep sleep, it's something very philosophical and something that you and I have to think about if you want to appreciate these deeper ideas of Vedanta. Well, so in the day you are manifest, you are in the waking state, and no sooner than the day ends, you go back into your state of sleep. You become unmanifest. And this cycle goes on and on and on and on. And in the context of your own life, you are living right now. May you live 100 years, but there will come a time. There will come a time when you have to say Tata bye-bye. And what will happen when you say Tata bye-bye? You will become unmanifest. You will become unmanifest. And what will happen? Again, you will spring forth in your next life. It's like you are going to sleep and you're waking up once again in your next life. And you will become manifest again. You will appear again. Interestingly, what's the name in Hindi for a person? आदमी का पर्यायवाची क्या है? It's a synonym for आदमी. व्यक्ति. व्यक्ति वो है जो अभी व्यक्त है, जो अभी मैनिफेस्ट है. थोड़े दिन बाद, थोड़े सालों बाद, कई सालों बाद, होपफुली आप व्यक्ति से अव्यक्ति हो जाओगे. मैं भी व्यक्ति से अव्यक्ति हो जाऊंगा. बाय बाय. And then what will happen after a period of time? After again we'll become from avyakt, we'll become vyakti. That's the cycle. We are going from manifest to unmanifest, manifest to unmanifest. It's like waves on the ocean. Waves will rise from the ocean for a certain period of time and then again crash back into the ocean. And again rise and again crash back, again rise, again crash back. That's the cycle. It's happening in your daily life. It's happening. Morning arises, there's manifestation. Night, there's unmanifest. It happens in the scale of your life. It happens in the scale of the universe as well. It happens in the scale of Brahmaji. When there is manifest, it is called Kalpa. And at the end of the yugas, at the end of Satya Yuga, Dwapar, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And after Kali Yuga, there is Pralaya, there is unmanifest. But Pralaya doesn't mean final end. That's what we are thinking. That's what I'm saying. Pralaya is not the final end. Pralaya ke baad vapis, there'll be a kalpa. Again, there is a manifestation. So Pralaya is not the end. This world is going through a cycle, whether it's the cycle of your single day, whether it's the cycle of your single life, or whether it's the cosmic cycle. It's a cycle. Manifest to unmanifest, manifest to unmanifest. That's all we're going through. All the world's a stage. All the men and women merely players. Shakespeare ki badi famous quote hai. All the world, the stage, all the men and women merely players. They all have their exits and their entrances. You have entered this stage right now. After some time, you will exit it. And again, you will enter some other stage. Manifest to unmanifest. That's all we are doing. That's all we are doing. Nobody stops back and asks, what is the end to this? What is the end to this? So he says we are helplessly going through the cycle and being born again and again, being born again and again. Verse number 19, the helpless rebirth of beings. Bhutagramassa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashah partha prabhavatyah ragame. Bhutagramassa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashah partha प्रभवत्यः रागमे. हे पार्थ, इस तरह इन भूतों का समूह उत्पन्न हो होकर रात्रि के आने पर अवश्य लीन और दीन के आने पर पुनः प्रकट होता है. दिस मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ बीइंग्स, इन भूतों का समूह उत्पन्न हो होकर रात्रि के आने पर अवश्य लीन और दिन के आने पर पुनः प्रकट होता है. दिस मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ बीइंग्स being born again and again and dissolved helplessly at the approach of night, O Partha, and it streams forth at the approach of day. You are helplessly dissolving at the approach of night. You are helplessly falling off to sleep. You cannot stay awake. You cannot keep staying awake. You have to fall off to sleep. It's a natural cycle. And again, once again, as the day approaches, you will stream forth back again. You are helplessly going to pass. There is going to be an end to this life. You cannot live forever. You will helplessly pass and you will helplessly be reborn. This world will helplessly end. There's no choice. All the beings will be part of the pralaya, and again the world will come again. Again there will be a kalpa. So this multitude of beings being born again and again and again and again are helplessly dissolved at night and become manifest. Why are we being dissolved? Why are we being born? That's the we have to understand. We have to try to understand. We have to try to understand. It is your desires, it is your vasanas that are forcing you to be born again and again and again. I repeat, it is your vasanas that are forcing you to be born again and again and again. You go through your entire life. You go through your entire life prompted by your vasanas, prompted by your desires. You're doing one thing after another based on the impulses of your own desires, on your vasanas. They're ruling your life. As such, philosophically, every moment is a death. Every moment is a death and a birth. Half an hour ago, you died at your bedside. You were born in front of the screen. 20 minutes later, you will die in front of the screen. You will be born in the kitchen. 2 hours later, today's Sunday, nobody's going to work. Today's Sunday. 2-3 hours later, you will die in your house. You will be born in the shopping mall, or you'll be born in the wherever you are going to travel. If you're going out touristing. I am new to Delhi, so yesterday I went out touristing, so that's very fresh in my mind. I saw the Lal Killa for the second time, but yes, I saw it properly for the first time. So that's why it is fresh in my mind. So maybe you'll also do something today. Point is, you are being born, you are dying at one place, you're being born again. You're dying at one place, you're being born again. And what is causing that death and birth? It is your desire. You want to go to the mall. That is causing you to die at your house and be born in the mall. That's forcing you to act in a way that will cause death in the house and birth in the mall. So philosophically speaking, death and birth are happening every moment. Death and birth are happening every single moment. What is Dehanta? Dehanta is just another experience. Death, physical death, what we call, is just another experience. Just as you are dying and being born every moment, at Dehanta, you are dying and then you are being born in a new body altogether. New environment to hai, but new body bhi. That's all that Dehanta is. That's all death is. Death is not the end of you. That is not the end of the game. Beings are helplessly, because death, what is happening? In death, you are becoming unmanifest. That's all. You're not ending. That's what he's trying to say. The cycle of manifestation and unmanifestation. Death is not end. That is becoming unmanifest. Death is becoming unmanifest. And at the approach of day again, you will become manifest. So, what is the end to this? What is the end to this? One who asks himself this question is philosophical. One who begins asking himself this question is philosophical. How do I end this? How do I go through this? But the point is, nobody asks. The point is, nobody asks. What do we do instead? We are simply looking to fulfill our desires. We're simply looking to gain more and more pleasure. And Bhagavan says, all the worlds up to Brahma Loka, all the worlds up to Brahma Loka are set for return, are subject to return. How much ever pleasure you seek, how much ever joy you seek in the world, how much ever gain, profit you seek in the world, and may you get it, may you be blessed with a lot. I hope and pray, may you be blessed with a lot, but they are subject to return. There will come a time when you'll run out of that joy. There'll come a time when you'll run out of that wealth. You may still have wealth, but you'll run out of the pleasure of wealth. You may still have wealth, but you'll run out of the pleasure of wealth. Most wealthy people, they don't stay happy for too long. So all the worlds up to Brahmaloka, imagine the highest state of material enjoyment, of sensual enjoyment, of emotional enjoyment. That is Brahmaloka. Imagine all your problems were solved. All your difficulties were taken away. That's Brahmaloka. Bhagavan says, all the worlds up to Brahmaloka, even Brahmaloka, are subject to return. There will come a time where your mind will develop another thirst, where your mind will de-escalate from that state of joy and come back to a state of wanting, to a state of searching for more, to a state of disappointment, to a state of dissatisfaction. It's a cycle. So all the worlds up to Brahmaloka are subject to return. No matter how much joy you seek in the world, you will never find permanent happiness. That's what he's saying. You will never find permanent happiness. So may you be blessed with a lot of wealth. May you be blessed with a lot of health. May you be blessed with a lot of joy. May you be blessed with a lot of pleasures. But please consider what Bhagavan is saying. Not what I am saying, what Bhagavan is saying. All the worlds up to Brahmaloka, where all my joys and all my pleasures and all my wealth and health and everything is fulfilled, they're all subject to return. How do I go to a state of no return? Where do I find a joy that is lasting, that is permanent? This is not only me asking, we are all looking for that. We're all looking for that. We're all looking for that one thing, having gotten which we'll be happy. We're all looking for that one thing which will give us permanent happiness. जिसके बाद हमें और कुछ ढूंढना नहीं पड़े. जिसके बाद हमें और कुछ ढूंढना नहीं पड़े. That's what we're looking for. We are looking in different places. That is all. Some people are looking in money. Some people are looking in service. Some people are looking in knowledge. Different places people are looking. But we're looking for that one thing. Having found which, having gotten which, we will never want anything else again. And that's why when people find subtler joys in life, when people find deeper joys in life, there is a greater satisfaction. There is a less of a agitation, a less of a search, a less of a dependency on the world. Suppose someone finds their calling, it's called meaning. Suppose they find their purpose, their calling, their meaning. They find some kind of purpose in life. It is deeply satisfying. Because there is no other distraction, no other desire. That one purpose takes the place of hundreds of desires, thousands of desires. So you become deeply satisfied in life. But even that will not give you permanent happiness, is what he's saying. That will not give you permanent happiness. But we are Indians. We love to bargain. So we are bargaining with life. Okay, I don't want permanent happiness. Give me that thing which will give me happy for 10 years at least. 10 साल मुझे खुश रखे, बस. That's the bargain we are trying to make with life. It doesn't work like that. A spiritual person, a yogi, doesn't make such bargains. He's not interested in anything that the world has to offer. He's not interested in anything temporary. He's not interested in anything that will eventually run out. He's looking for that permanent state. He's looking for permanent joy. He's looking to find himself. He's looking for the higher unmanifest, which he's going to talk about right now. He's looking for God. The yogi is looking for God. He doesn't do dalali with the world. He doesn't settle for anything less. He searches for this higher unmanifest, which he's going to talk about in verse number 20. Parastasmatu bhavonyah vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Parastasmatu bhavonyah vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति. परंतु उस अव्यक्त से श्रेष्ठ जो अन्य अव्यक्त भाव है, वह सब भूतों के नाश होने पर भी नष्ट नहीं होता. But there exists higher than this unmanifest another unmanifested being, eternal, which is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed. But there exists higher than the unmanifest another unmanifested being, eternal, which is not destroyed when all of these beings are destroyed. First of all, what is this unmanifest he's talking about? What is this unmanifest he's talking about? He says, verse number 19, when he says, the multitude of beings being helplessly born, verse number 18, at the approach of day, manifest streams forth from unmanifest. And approach of night, all of this dissolves back into unmanifest. So we're going from a state of manifestation to a state of unmanifest. We're going from a state of vyakt to a vyakt. And he says, higher than this unmanifest, beyond this unmanifest, this is not our home. Where we go when we sleep, where we go when we die, is not our home, is not our permanent destination. Higher, beyond this unmanifest, there is another unmanifested being, which is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed. This unmanifested being, nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachainam kledayantyapah, nashoshayati marutah. Nothing can touch it. Very famous verse I have chanted. Sadly, we only read it in the obituary of some people. People only remember this verse while writing obituaries. Deeply philosophical verse. The self in you cannot be touched. The self in you cannot be hurt. The self in you cannot be affected by all the elements. Nothing in the world can touch it. Nothing in the world can bruise it. Nothing in the world can destroy it. That is the higher unmanifest. The self in you, what is this higher unmanifested being? This higher unmanifested being is God. This higher unmanifested being is Brahman, seated in the core of your being, your Atman. The same Brahman all around is within you, your Atman. That Atman is also unmanifest. Prakat nahi hai. Atman is not prakat. It's not something you can feel. It's not something you can touch. It's not something you can conceive. It's not manifest. It is unmanifest. And it is deeper. When you go to sleep, you go unmanifest, but you don't reach the Atman. When you go to sleep, you reach a state of unmanifest. But beyond this state of unmanifest, deeper than it, beyond it, greater than it, higher than it, It's the other unmanifested being, the eternal being, which is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed. There is something that lies beyond the cycle of creation and destruction, beyond the cycle of kalpa and pralaya. There is something beyond this creation of Lord Brahma, and that is Brahman, that is God. God lies beyond this world. God lies beyond this creation. It is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed. Nothing happens to it. It is eternal. It is Akshara. And he says, that is the Akshara. Remember, this chapter is called Akshara Brahma Yoga. We are trying to get a better understanding of what is God, what is Brahman. That's all. What started in chapter 7, talking about the various ways to think of God as all pervading, as eternal, as the substratum, all of these different ways, as Nirguna. This is another way you have to try and conceive. Bhagavan, God is Akshara. This higher unmanifest is Akshara. Akshara Brahma Paramam. Akshara Brahma Yoga is the name of this chapter. And this is the perhaps one of the most important verse, the second most important verse in this chapter, talking about this Akshara. What is this unmanifested, this higher unmanifested? Verse number 21. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha tamahuh paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha tamahuh paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. The higher unmanifest, अव्यक्त अक्षर है, ये अव्यक्त अक्षर है, इसको परम गति कहा गया है, जिसको प्राप्त होकर पुनः नहीं लौटते, वह परम धाम है. The unmanifested is called the imperishable. It is said to be the goal. Those who reach it do not return. That is my supreme abode. So look, he's speaking a dual lingo. He's speaking in two senses. He's speaking in an intellectual sense from the point of view of Jnana. He's also speaking in the bhakti sense from the point of view of devotion. Speaking in a devotional sense also. Earlier he said, those who come to me are not subject to rebirth. All the worlds up to Brahma Loka are subject to rebirth, but those who come to me are not subject to rebirth. They are not born again. He's repeating that out here. Those who reach it, the higher unmanifested, the imperishable, they do not return. That is my supreme abode. That is my abode. That state of self-realization, that's where you will find me. Bhagavan is saying, find yourself, you will find me. Attain self-realization, you will find me. The way to find God is to go within. The way to find this sarvagataha, all pervading reality, is to search within. And this unmanifested, the akshara, the imperishable, that does not perish, that does not get destroyed with the passage of time, that is said to be the goal. That is what we are searching for. That is what we are looking for. That is what we are supposed to achieve in life. We are meant to achieve in life. Through dhyanam, through meditation. पर कम वक्त हमारा मन जो है वो ध्यान के योग्य ही नहीं है. It's not even capable of meditation. And this is the truth. Please don't try it. Don't try and go and test yourself. How long I can sit in meditation. The purpose of the spiritual path, the purpose of the karma bhakti jnana yoga, the purpose of reducing your desires, the purpose of getting control of your mind, the only purpose is so that your mind can become qualified, capable of meditation. And through meditation, you will achieve, you will attain this imperishable state. You will attain this, the union with the deeper unmanifest, You will attain union with the Akshara. You will attain union with God. Beyond the cycle of manifest and unmanifest, beyond the cycle of change, lies the immutable, the unchanging reality. That's God. God is watching us. God is watching us from the back of it all. He's just watching. He's Sakshi. He's the unmanifest, imperishable Sakshi. And we are all lost in the din and roar of the marketplace. We are lost in the stage of life. We are lost in this mela. Nobody wants to go and find that Sakshi, that observer. Find that as the purpose of life. May we all be inspired to do that. May we all be inspired to seek that. And with that thought, we will end today's class and we'll continue once again tomorrow with the concluding part of chapter 8. And hopefully we will start chapter 9. With that thought, Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.